there, this is the Sherlock Brew Podcast series brought to you by SherlockSuperCoach.AI. On the show, you'll find actionable insights and bite-sized conversations with HR and business leaders on topics that provoke thoughts and new paradigms to better understand and develop Gen Z and young millennials on your team. We'll help you look at new possibilities and gain perspectives to level up young professionals and help them surge ahead on your team. Wonderful. So the next question, I guess it's a little tricky, which is a new era of authenticity has arrived with Gen Z. And actually, even in our first question, what is the importance of meaning in Gen Z's life? And that's something I feel like you already emphasized on. But I was just curious, how prepared are you right now still as a leader, and how prepared maybe are some of your clients or prospects, all these people and other leaders who you're currently working with? Have you ever heard anything about how prepared are they for Gen Z and the young workforce?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, again, I don't know that enough of them are prepared because I don't know enough of them are willing to step back and say, what would my experience be today if I could do it all over again, and what would I want, and then how can I provide that? We sort of just look at the trail that came before us and say, that's the trail you walk because I walked it. I don't think that's the case. And I think that as we're looking at a new generation, so I'm reminded recently of a client I work with, and he's, runs a very important function for a massive, company. We're talking a global, at least a Fortune 50, if not a Fortune 20 company. And he said, the thing that I think about and worry about is, and we're talking like people in jobs like maybe they're truck drivers or doing things that are like manual labor and not something you're getting a master's degree and becoming an influencer about. You're actually doing the hard work. And he says, I want to know, what are we doing to make their lives better every day when they have to do these jobs? Because these are jobs that need doing, and they're not easy jobs to do. And it's beyond how can we just pay them well for that, but it's like, how do we make their lives better? How do you make their life better when they're driving that truck? How do you reduce stress by the technology that allows them to know where to go and when to be there? How do you manage all of that? How do you manage the flow for them so they can focus on the thing they need to do and not worry about more? Now, all of that's good for the business too, but he's thinking about a perspective of how do we make lives better? So there's a leader that I say, he's in touch with bringing people into a workforce and saying, how do we make this a great career for you? Because there are a lot of people that driving that truck may be a great career, at least until the self-driving trucks take over, I guess. And they may turn that into something else. They may learn about the logistics. They may learn about product movement and something else that feeds into a new job for them. But he's like, how do I make their lives better so they can do that? That, I think, is someone who is more ready. A lot of the managers I see are just thinking, how do we get them to basically like the shit that we're shoving at them? Sorry, might have to bleep that word out, but that's basically it. Here, we got this crap job, and it's not that great, and we're not going to make it better, but how do we get them to get over the hump and just accept that and say, it's okay, live this life for a while? They're not really concerned about where they go and where they develop. And human resources, unfortunately, seems more concerned about, contracts and non-disclosure agreements and all sorts of things, as opposed to how are we actually designing these jobs to bring more joy or excitement or meaning or purpose into them. I just don't see that happening. I don't see people using that language enough, which is why when I see my one client at a massive organization using that language around making lives better, that inspires me. That's the kind of client I want to work with. I think it's something that we as a generation and the generation after us probably need to really look inside ourselves and say, what are we doing to create that ability, again, for people to make meaning, to get engaged, and to get a much more fuller life out of the work that we're asking them to do? And that may mean changing the work itself or how the work is set up, which actually could be good for all of us.
Thanks so much for watching. I hope you find it helpful. We'll soon be back with our next podcast. In the meantime, please share this episode with your friends and colleagues.